Do you think offering concessions before negotiations begin is a good strategy here?
Yeah, I think you have to listen to the White House as a whole. They walked those back
Yeah.
and made it clear that nothing is off the table. So, no, you walk into a negotiation with everything on the table, and I think that's exactly what this White House is doing.
Yeah.
It's less than a month since this administration's been in power, and they want to move fast, and everybody's a little nervous. But I think they should be much more optimistic than they should be nervous. You needed a seismic shift here. This is not a sustainable operation in Ukraine. If Kamala Harris had been president, you'd be going along the same lines, which is basically funding this war until every Ukrainian is dead. That's not an end that we can accept.
So,
There has to be some talk of negotiation. I remind American people too, from our perspective, from American strategic deterrence perspective, even getting Putin to that table to talk about an end to the war is
yeah.
a massive strategic win for us because it establishes back our deterrence over
Well,
time.
do you know that he is actually committing to come to the table? We don't have a commitment to actually negotiate from Vladimir Putin.
No, we don't. You know, it would be
Okay.
really helpful. What I said before, if the EU
Okay.
was uncomfortably aggressive about it.
Got it.
Again, Putin only responds to power, and this is what I remind Western leaders here too. Westerners don't speak that language. Westerners talk about negotiations and good moral values that we share, and we
Yeah.
believe each other. That's not how the East works. They only respond to power.
So, okay, on that point, Vladimir Putin, it sounds like you would agree, is an accused war criminal. He is a dictator. There is a warrant out for his arrest, as you know. He invaded Ukraine. He is clearly a U.S. adversary. But this past week, President Trump said he'd love to have Putin back in the G8, which would make him, again, a peer global leader. President Trump floated inviting him to the U.S. or even visiting Russia himself. Do you think any of that is appropriate?
It's more appropriate than not talking to him for the last 2 years, which is what President Biden did. Who did that help?
Talking is
It hasn't
different than
gotten us
inviting him to the
anywhere.
United States.
Sure. I mean, you can parse it out however you like, but the reality is you're going to have to get him to the table somehow, right? And there's a carrot and a stick approach. Trump can use a lot. You can use a lot of leverage, and then the Europeans need to use a lot more leverage. But you also have that carrot approach, and Trump is good at that. He's good at flattering people in order to get them to the table. That is what we need, whether we like it or not. That's what we need.
But flattering a very brutal dictator who's pretty cunning, frankly, you really think that's a winning strategy?
Well, he's not that cunning. He's fought a war that has destroyed his society, killed hundreds of thousands of Russians. He's made a massive mistake and miscalculation. He's not as clever as maybe we've given him credit for. I think let Trump do his campaign promise and play this out. Look, nobody's going to take advantage of Donald Trump. And General Kellogg made that very clear because that was a question Europeans asked him. Are you going to sell out just to get a deal, That's because of the campaign promise? And Kellogg just laughed at that. He's like, there is no way, there is absolutely no way that Donald Trump will be seen, and he will not let himself go down in history as having sold out to Putin. He will not let that happen. He believes just for the sake of his own legacy.
Right.
But he does care about lasting peace here and lasting European peace.